Good evening. Please come in. Take a seat.
This is a therapist's office?
Yes, you're in the right place. My name is Dr. Freud. And you must be James? It does have a certain old world charm, doesn't it? Some find it comforting, others a bit unsettling. What do you think?
It's not what I expected, to be honest. Feels like I stepped into another time.
I like to keep it traditional. Old books, old furniture. Sometimes a bit of history can create a safe atmosphere. But if it makes you uncomfortable, we can adjust.
No, it's fine. Just caught me off guard.
Understandable. Now, please don't worry about formality or anything. We can simply talk. Whatever is on your mind, however trivial or strange it may seem, this is a safe space.
I appreciate you seeing me.
Of course. Why don't we start with what brought you here? What made you walk in tonight?
I'm not even sure. I just sort of ended up here.
Ended up here?
I was out walking. I turned down an alley I never use, and then I saw the light from your window. I don't usually do this kind of thing, talking about feelings.
Many people find it difficult, especially at first. You're not alone in that.
Alone, right.
Are you feeling alone, James?
It's stupid. I guess I just have nowhere else to be. No one waiting at home for me or anything.
You live by yourself?
For a while now, yeah.
No family nearby? Friends or roommates?
My dad's still around, but he lives out of town. We're not that close. And my wife.
Your wife?
Mary. Her name was Mary.
Was? Did something happen to Mary?
She passed away.
I'm very sorry to hear that. How long has it been since Mary passed?
3 years.
3 years. Grief can be a long journey. There's no set timeline for when one should feel okay again, if ever. How have you been coping?
I don't know that I have been coping. I mostly just try not to think about it, about her.
That's a common response. Avoiding the pain. Unfortunately, the more we push something away, the more forcefully it often comes back.
What do you mean?
Feelings demand to be felt, memories to be acknowledged. We can bury them for a time, but they tend to resurface, sometimes in unexpected ways. Nightmares, sudden mood swings, even a sense of being haunted by what we haven't faced.
I haven't been sleeping well. That much is true.
Nightmares?
Yeah, sometimes.
About Mary?
About a lot of things. Mostly she's in them. Or I'm searching for her, and I can't find her. Or...
It's all right. Take your time.
It's like I'm in this fog in my dreams. There's fog everywhere I can barely see, but I know I have to find Mary. I keep hearing her voice calling me, like she's just out of reach, around the next corner, or hidden in the mist.
What does she say in these dreams?
She calls my name. Sometimes she says, "I'm waiting for you." It always feels urgent, like she needs me, and I'm failing her by not finding her in time.
How do you feel when you hear that "I'm waiting for you" in the dream?
Anxious, desperate, guilty.
Guilty?
Because I wasn't there when she
died?
I should have been by her side at the end, holding her hand, something, anything, but
You weren't with her when she passed?
No, not at the exact moment. I stepped out of the room just for a second, and when I came back, she was gone.
That must be incredibly painful for you. You wanted to be there in her final moment.
It was the least I could have done for her. After everything.
After everything? What do you mean by that?
Just how I handled things. How I was when she was sick.
We often replay those last days or years in our minds, second-guessing ourselves. It sounds like you feel you could have done better.
I made so many mistakes, especially in that last year.
Mary was ill for a long time?
About 3 years, give or take. The first year was hopeful. We thought maybe she'd get better. The second year was worse. The third was hell.
A long time to watch someone you love suffer.
It felt like forever. And at the same time, it all went by too fast.
What was the nature of her illness, if you don't mind sharing?
It was some kind of disease. The doctors never really gave it a name we understood, just that it was fatal, a matter of when, not if. She was in and out of hospitals constantly.
That must have been devastating for both of you, such a prolonged battle.
It changed her. The pain, the medications, being stuck in hospital rooms.
Changed her? In what way?
She wasn't the same person I fell in love with. No, that's not fair. She was still herself, somewhere in there. But the illness, it twisted everything.
Illness, especially a long chronic one, can drastically affect a person's mood and behavior. In what ways did Mary change?
Mary was always so alive, warm, funny, stubborn as hell. She'd tease me for being too serious. We used to go on these little trips. She loved this lakeside town we visited, made it our special place.
Those sound like happy times.
They were. But once she got sick, all of that faded. Over the 3 years, as her body got weaker, she got depressed, angry. She'd have these mood swings where she'd lash out, especially at me.
At you, the person closest to her.
I guess I was a convenient target. On her bad days, she'd scream at me to get out, tell me I didn't understand, that I didn't really care. Say things that I was just waiting around for her to guy so I could be free.
Those are incredibly painful things to hear from your wife.
Yeah. At the time, I tried to just take it. I knew it was the illness and the pain talking. Usually, 10 minutes later, she'd be sobbing and apologizing, and I'd be comforting her. But damn, it hurt.
Of course it did. Being a caregiver can be heartbreaking and thankless in those moments. You understand logically that your loved one is lashing out because of pain and fear, but emotionally, the wounds still form.
Sometimes I wonder if maybe some of the things she said were true. If she sensed something in me I didn't want to admit.
What do you mean?
There were times I felt relief. Relief that she was asleep and not needing anything. Or even relief when I had to be away from the hospital for work. And then I'd hate myself for feeling that.
You were drained, James. Exhaustion, physical, emotional, can make anyone long for a break. That doesn't make you a bad husband, it makes you human.
I told myself that, but the guilt. I felt like a monster for even a split second of not being 100% devoted, or for feeling frustrated.
You were carrying an immense burden. Feeling trapped or frustrated or desperately weary doesn't erase your love for her. It simply means you were suffering too.
But I wasn't the one dying. I wasn't the one in constant pain. How could I complain about anything when she was going through hell?
Because witnessing a loved one in pain is its own kind of torture. There's even a term, caregiver syndrome, where caretakers become depressed and ill from the stress and heartbreak of tending someone in decline. You both were victims of that horrible disease.
I never really thought of it like that I was a kind of victim too. Feels selfish to even say.
It's not selfish, it's honest. You sacrificed a lot of yourself during those years, didn't you?
I stopped working eventually, took a leave of absence. I just couldn't focus on anything else. And friends, I drifted away from them. I pretty much shut out everyone except Mary and the nurses and doctors.
You gave all your energy to caring for Mary.
I did, and I'd do it again. But, God, it was hard.
No one who hasn't been through it can truly understand how hard.
She told me once, during a rare calm moment, that she felt ugly and useless, and that she wouldn't blame me if I did want to be free of her. It broke my heart. She even said I should go on with my life after she was gone. that she wanted me to be happy.
That sounds like Mary's true voice cutting through the illness, the part of her that loved you, wanting your happiness.
I couldn't even imagine it. I told her, no, I don't want anyone else. I don't want a life without you, and I meant it.
Of course, it's natural to feel that in the face of losing her.
And now here I am, living that life I said I didn't want, and I'm doing a pretty terrible job at it.
You're alive, which is already something. You got through each day the best you could. Perhaps surviving feels like a betrayal.
Yes, exactly. It's like if I start to even think about a future, or have a moment where I'm not drowning in grief, I feel disloyal to her. Like I'm not honoring her memory.
To live your life feels like a betrayal of her?
Yeah.
Yet as you said, she wanted you to go on.
I know she said that, but maybe she was just trying to comfort me, take the burden off me. I don't know.
The conflict between what our loved one wants for us and what we feel we owe them can be intense.
Sometimes I wish it had been me instead of her. I've even wished I were dead, to be with her.
James, have you had thoughts of harming yourself?
Not directly. I haven't sat down and planned anything, but I don't much care if I live. I drive recklessly sometimes, or wander in dangerous places at odd hours. Maybe a part of me hopes something will happen. I don't know.
That despair you feel is not unusual given what you've endured. But I'm very glad you're still here.
I don't really feel glad to be here most days.
I understand. You're carrying a lot of pain, but the fact that you're sitting here now talking to me tells me that somewhere inside you there's a will to find a way forward, or at least to find relief.
Maybe. Or maybe I just got lost and ended up here by accident.
I like to think there's a part of us that guides us to what we need, even if we don't realize it. Call it fate or the unconscious mind. Some part of you brought you here.
Perhaps.
You mentioned earlier you feel guilty about not being there at the very end. Can you walk me through that day? Only if you feel up to it.
Okay, I'll try.
Take your time. Start wherever you want.
It was at home. They let Mary come home for a short while because it was near the end and she wanted to be in her own place. The hospital basically sent her home to die, if I'm being honest. They said something about comfort and dignity. It was nice, at first, to have her home. She was so happy to be out of that hospital room.
How did it go those first days at home?
She was very weak, but there were good moments. We talked, really talked, more than we had in ages. She apologized for how she'd been when things were worst. I kept telling her it was all okay, that I never held it against her. We even laughed a little. For a short time, it felt like we found us again, underneath the sickness.
That sounds very meaningful, that you had those moments.
It was. She reminded me of some of our happiest times. She made me promise I'd never forget them, like I ever could.
What happened next?
After 2 days or so, she took a turn. It's like her body just started shutting down. She was in constant pain again, barely conscious most of the time. We had morphine, the doctors gave us, and I was administering it as needed. They walked me through it. I was terrified I'd do it wrong. Too much, too little. But I think I managed okay, until that last night.
You did what you could. Gave her medicine.
I did. I gave her a dose of morphine, but it wasn't helping fast enough. She was sobbing, writhing, and she started begging me to end it. She said, "Please, James, it'd be easier if you just killed me."
She actually said that?
She did, or something very close. Just kill me. I can't take this anymore. She wasn't in her right mind. I have to believe she wasn't. But hearing her say that, I felt my heart break and freeze all at once.
I can only imagine how horrifying that must have been, to hear those words from the woman you love.
Part of me wanted to scream at her for even saying it. Another part of me wondered if she was right, if maybe that would be mercy.
You considered it.
I don't know. I was in shock. For a fleeting moment, I pictured it. Ending her pain, ending the nightmare for both of us. And then I recoiled. I told her never to say that I couldn't do that.
Of course, it's an impossible situation. Your love for her versus the horror of acting on such a request.
I got angry. Can you believe it? She was the one dying, and I yelled at her not to talk like that. She just cried and apologized, and I felt like the worst human being alive. Eventually, the morphine mercifully knocked her out again. She fell asleep, but I couldn't. I just sat there, watching her breathe and thinking about what she'd asked, wondering if that was the right thing to do after all, if prolonging this was cruel.
It's a question that has tormented many in similar situations. What's more merciful, letting someone suffer to the natural end or intervening? There's no easy answer.
I hated myself for even entertaining the thought. I still do. What kind of husband even imagines?
A desperate, grief-stricken, loving one who wanted his wife's suffering to end. It doesn't make you evil, James. It makes you human.
I didn't do it. You know, I need you to understand. I never would have actually done it.
I do understand. You didn't harm her. You gave her medicine. You sat by her side. You did what any loving husband could in that moment.
But I left. After all that, I still managed to fail her.
You mean when you stepped out of the room?
Yes. After she fell asleep, I don't even remember exactly. I think I went to the bathroom, or maybe just into the kitchen to splash water on my face. I was feeling sick with myself. It was only a minute or two, but when I came back, she wasn't breathing.
You couldn't have known that would be her final breath. You had no way of knowing.
I should have been there. What if she woke up in those last seconds, found herself alone? What if she was scared and I wasn't holding her hand?
Those what-ifs will torture you if you let them. The reality is, you were with her right up until the very end and stepped away for just a moment. Perhaps she passed peacefully in that moment, not even aware you weren't there.
I hope so. God, I hope she wasn't scared. They said she might not even regain consciousness, but I just don't know. After she died, I called the nurse who had been on standby. Everything blurred. I must have been in shock. I barely remember the hours after.
That's not uncommon. Sometimes the mind shields us by blurring extremely traumatic moments.
Is that what you meant by repressing? That I'm not remembering something from that night?
It's possible. You were in extraordinary distress. There might be details your conscious mind pushed away because they were too painful or frightening.
I remember enough. She got sick. She died. That's it. There's nothing more to remember. Nothing to resolve. It's just grief.
James?
I told you everything. She was sick and she died. What more do you want me to say?
James, I'm not implying there's some hidden story or that you did anything wrong.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell.
It's all right. I promise. I'm not here to interrogate you. When I mentioned repression, I was talking about feelings, not accusing you of holding back facts.
Right. Okay.
Let's step back a moment. You said it's just grief. You've clearly been grieving deeply. But if it were just normal grief, James, would you be hallucinating her voice? Having these vivid nightmares that go beyond typical dreams?
I am grieving. That doesn't mean I'm repressing some big secret, does it?
Not necessarily a secret, but maybe intense emotions, guilt, anger that you haven't fully confronted. Those can manifest in hallucinations or dreams.
I'm not crazy. At least, I don't think so.
You're not crazy. You are a man overwhelmed by loss and guilt. Our minds can do strange things under such strain.
Sometimes I do feel like I'm going crazy. I hear her voice. I see her out of the corner of my eye in our apartment, just for a second. Or I smell her perfume when there's none around.
These could be what we call hallucinations, or simply vivid memories triggered unexpectedly. They can be the mind's way of holding onto someone, or a sign of complicated grief.
It feels real. In those moments, I swear she's there. And for that instant, I'm so happy. And then reality hits like a truck, and I lose her all over again.
That resurgence of hope and then heartbreak, like tearing open the wound each time.
Exactly. How many times do I have to lose her? You'd think once was enough.
You're stuck in a loop, reliving the loss repeatedly. This often happens when something about the loss feels unresolved, as if your mind is searching for a different outcome, a way to undo what happened.
Undo it. If only I could. I'd do anything to bring her back.
Some people in your position, losing a spouse so young, develop a kind of denial. They hold onto the belief the person might somehow return.
You mean like I haven't accepted it? I know she's dead.
Consciously, yes. But unconsciously, the fact that you keep hearing her call to you, beckoning you, suggests a part of you hasn't let go. The part that dreams still expects to find her.
I got a letter from her.
A letter after she passed?
I know how it sounds. I found it in our mailbox about a week ago. It was in her handwriting, signed with her name. It said she was waiting for me in our special place.
James, Mary's been gone for 3 years.
I know. It can't really be from her, but I saw it. I have it.
What did you think upon receiving it?
I didn't know what to think. I was shocked and hopeful and afraid. That's why.
That's why you came to the town, isn't it? The town by the lake, your special place. That's why you're here in Silent Hill.
I got in my car and I drove here. I know it sounds insane. Part of me knows she's gone. But that letter, I guess a part of me thought, what if she's somehow...
Alive.
Yes, alive. Or here in some, I don't know, some way. I just had to come. I had to see.
Sometimes the bereaved create signs or messages from their loved ones as a way to find closure. Perhaps your mind needed you to return here, to face those memories.
Or maybe she really is here, somehow. And I'm just too afraid to fully believe it.
What do you believe, James?
I don't know. I oscillate between this is insane, she's dead, and what if she's out there waiting for me? It's exhausting.
I'm sure it is. James, may I share something from Greek mythology with you?
Sure.
There's a tale of Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus's wife, Eurydice, died young. He was so overcome with grief that he journeyed to the underworld to bring her back. His music was so beautiful it moved Hades to grant him a chance. Orpheus could lead Eurydice out of the land of the dead, but on one condition. He must not look back at her until they reached the living world.
Did he succeed?
Tragically, no. Just before they emerged, Orpheus was overcome by doubt and longing. He glanced back to make sure she was still behind him, and in that instant, Eurydice vanished, lost to him forever. Orpheus returned to the world of the living alone.
He lost her because he couldn't resist looking back.
One interpretation is that As much as we yearn to undo death, to retrieve our loved ones, it's ultimately impossible. And chasing that aim can cause us even more suffering. Sometimes the greatest act of love and courage is to accept the finality and let go.
You're warning me not to lose myself, trying to bring Mary back.
I'm suggesting you be careful. There is no journey to the underworld that will truly restore Mary to life. Only your memories of her and the love you carry can keep her alive in a sense. Fulfilling her final wishes, like scattering her ashes, may bring you peace. But if you hold on too desperately to the hope of literally finding her, you risk losing yourself in the process.
I understand. In my head, I know. The ashes aren't really her, just ashes. But still, I'm not ready to say goodbye. I must admit part of me is afraid. Afraid of facing this place without her by my side.
Afraid of the memories it will stir?
Yes, and afraid that if I do it, if I scatter her ashes like she asked, I'll have to truly accept that she's gone for good.
That fear might be exactly why you've been hearing her voice waiting in this town in your dreams. It's unfinished business. A part of you knows you need to say a proper goodbye, but you're not ready. So in your mind, she remains waiting, unlaid to rest.
You're saying, maybe I need to do it. To scatter her ashes, to say goodbye, to let her go.
Only when you feel ready. But avoiding it for 3 years has clearly taken a toll. It might be a step toward healing, yes.
I've avoided even opening the urn. It's still in our apartment, sealed. I told myself I would when I was ready. It's been 3 years and I haven't found that ready.
In fact, earlier you mentioned Mary made a friend in the hospital, a little girl?
Yeah, there was an orphan girl named Laura. Mary absolutely adored her.
Mary still had such a capacity for love, even in pain.
She did. Mary told me if things were different, if she got better, she would have loved to adopt Laura. Hearing her say that, knowing we'd never get that chance, it broke me.
Even while she was suffering, she was imagining giving love and care to someone else. She must have been a remarkable woman.
She was, always thinking of others, even then.
You're grieving not just Mary, but also the life you were supposed to have together, the children you didn't get to have, the years you didn't get to spend.
Exactly. It's like losing her wasn't just losing her presence. It was losing every future moment we should have had. I'm grieving a whole life that died with her.
That kind of grief, mourning the future, is often overlooked by others, but it's very real. You not only lost Mary, you lost the family you dreamed of, the plans you made together.
We wanted to have kids, you know? That dream died too. We even had names picked out. If it was a girl, she'd be named after her grandmother. If a boy, she wanted to name him after me. It's silly. We only talked about it a little before she got sick, and then not at all. But sometimes I dream about that too. Having a child with her eyes, or her smile. Then I wake up, and none of it's real.
One day, you might find a way to honor those dreams in a different form. Perhaps not the way you originally imagined, but life can still hold meaning.
Right now, that seems impossible.
I know it does. Right now you're in the darkest part of the tunnel, but you've taken a significant step by coming here and opening up to me.
It doesn't solve anything. Mary's still gone.
No, it doesn't change the facts. But maybe you feel just a little lighter for having let some of this out.
Drained, more than anything. But maybe a bit lighter. Like, I'm not carrying this entirely alone right now.
Exactly. That's the power of sharing our burdens. They don't vanish, but they become more bearable.
It still hurts. Everything we talked about. But maybe I don't know, a tiny bit less like I'm about to explode.
That's a good start. Now, therapy isn't a magic fix. It's more of a process. We've taken a big first step today.
I didn't realize how long I've been talking. I must be keeping you past your schedule.
Don't worry about that. This is why I'm here. James, you've carried a tremendous amount on your shoulders. You said you feel like you've made so many mistakes, failed in so many ways. Let me ask you this. If our positions were reversed, if it were you on your deathbed and Mary caring for you, would you forgive her for being human, for sometimes feeling tired or frustrated?
Of course I would.
Would you want her to torture herself for years after, believing she hadn't done enough?
No, I'd hate that. I'd want her to live, to be okay.
Then why not grant yourself the same mercy? Why not believe that Mary, who loved you, has already forgiven any small lapses you had?
I don't know if I can. I feel like I don't deserve to be okay.
Because you feel responsible for her suffering and death?
Yes, I feel like I failed at everything that mattered. I couldn't save her. I couldn't even keep my promise to always be there.
James, you did more for Mary than most would have the strength to do. You devoted yourself to her care for years. In the end, you are one man, not God. You couldn't change the course of a terminal illness.
Then why do I feel so damn guilty?
Because you loved her deeply. And when we love greatly, we often feel guilt when we can't protect our loved ones from suffering. It's irrational, but it's powerful.
She wrote me a letter, not the one I found. Another one, before she died. I found it in her belongings later. I haven't been able to bring myself to read it yet.
Perhaps you will when you're ready, just like her ashes.
Yeah, perhaps. Thank you for listening. I didn't think anyone could help me, even a little, but you did.
It's been my pleasure, James. And please, call me Sigmund if you like.
Thank you, Sigmund. Thanks, Dr. Freud.
James, be careful out there. The world might feel a bit foggy tonight.
Silent Hill, Mary, I'm coming.
Good luck, James.